Hello, I would like to just state before this video continues and I start ranting that this is a rant video about how other people make these videos, not an actual one of the trending videos. What I'm talking about today is how people say how you should make your OCs and my thoughts on these kind of videos. And if you don't know what an OC means, it stands for original character. Now, this is not targeted towards one specific creator, because again, this was a trend that was going on. And some of the videos are good and some of them are bad. It just depends how you go about it. When designing an OC, you really have to think about, okay, so are you using it for a book series, an indie animation series? Are you using it as a self-insert event character? Are you using it just fun with yourself or just to draw? So that's my problem with these tutorials, which some of them, that they tell you what you shouldn't do. Yes, but no though. For instance, if you're making a story and you have, and obviously they're your OCs, and one of your characters is just so many things and just super unbalanced for everyone else, it's probably going to be an unbalanced story. But if you just want to have an OC that's a wolf cat hybrid lost princess or something, and you want to draw that, that's not a problem. When you're making an OC, it doesn't really matter how overpowered or underpowered they are unless you're combining them with other OCs in a story that you are releasing to the public. Because I've had a lot of people say, especially with well, you shouldn't have a character that has unnaturally colored hair without them dyeing it. And that's bullcrap in my opinion. Now, if they're the only character in your entire story that has unnaturally colored hair and it's just that they're magical powers or something and no one else's, then it's very overused. It's not necessarily you can't do it, but there's a way to go about that to where it's not just super overpowered and it's just no other character means anything. It makes it very hard to balance, if that makes sense. Because one of my series, Village of Thorns, that I am currently writing the book about, the characters do have unnaturally colored hair. One is bright red. I don't mean like a redhead. I mean like red. One is blonde, one has green hair, and one has blue hair. Because when you incorporate that into a story, it doesn't necessarily mean that it's overused or blah, 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 because it is a fantasy story. In fantasy stories, you can have unnaturally colored hair, but it be natural in that story because it is a piece of fiction. And that is the problem I have with a lot of these videos is some creators, not all of them, some of them, will say that your character can't do this or this or this, but they don't know what you're going with your story. It's just a guidelines thing. And if you do have a character, for instance, that's like, for instance, you have a magical girl story and there's just one character that has powers and no one else does, you have to do it in a way where you're prepared to back that up with not like a real fact, obviously, because it's fiction, but your reasoning behind an OC should not just be, well, because she is, or because he is, or blah, 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 blah. You need a backstory to why that one person has abilities, powers, and no one else does, or why that one person has unnaturally colored hair without dyeing it, and no one else does. You have to have a reasoning for a story, and that I can agree with. But that being said, I also agree if it's not a story, and you're just making an OC because you want to draw them, that don't matter. You don't gotta go through all that unless you want to. At the end of the day, the only problem I have with some of these videos people are making about like how to make an OC is just some people are not looking at it from every perspective, and they're telling people what to do instead of explaining, hey, this could make your story better. That being said, this wasn't very well organized. I'm sorry. If you guys do have stories and you'd like to ask me ideas or anything for your stories in the comments that you're making with your OCs, or you're just stuck in a roadblock, I don't mind helping if you guys would like to do that. Other than that, I hope you guys have a splendid, splendid day, and thank you for watching.